Hey guys, welcome to this video. Let me tell you what we're going to cover in our webinar next week. That will be Thursday, September the 9th at 1 p.m. Central. So just a little bit ago, we finished our webinar and had great participation, and hopefully the content was good. What's called a limited content message. That is going to be the dominant form of voicemail starting November 30 by debt collectors. And we talked about how they can violate the law with that. But what we'll talk about next week, we're going back to the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, your credit reports. And it's not so much going to be, let's talk theoretically about what's an error, what's not an error. It's going to be, I'm going to put up on the screen actual credit reports. And then we're going to together look at that and say, what are the errors? I'm not talking about legal errors, Metro 2 errors, none of that. I'm just talking about factually. What is wrong with this credit report on this particular account? What's missing? What is just inconsistent? So we might see, for example, on an Experian report, the balance every month is going down. And then they have a place for the payment and it'll say zero. Well, now how's the payment going down every month if you say the payment's zero? That's just inconsistent. It's just flat out wrong. Or I use this example in the webinar today, talking about what we'll do next week. We may have something that says it's a charge off and we paid it off in January of this year. And they admit the payment came in January. It was closed. It was paid off. It was done. Nothing more is owed as of January. And then February and March, they put a charge off. Well, how's it a charge off? If I paid it off in January, how can it be a charge off? How can it be negative any form or fashion in February or March? It's just flat out wrong. Or we may go along and there's monthly history on the balance, the scheduled payment, the amount paid, the amount past due, the rating, and we do that, and then there's like 2 or 3 months where it's just blank. There's no data there. Okay, so TransUnion will show it as blank. Equifax will show it as blank. A lot of times Experian will either show it as blank or they'll put an X like there's no data or unknown, or they'll just, in a list of months, they'll just skip it. So you'll be January, February, March, May, August. You're like, wait a minute, I think I'm missing some months here. So we're going to look at those together and say, okay, what are all the errors? And we sort of write those down. And then I'll flip over, because I can share a screen on webinar, and pull up a Word document. And we have a template that we've shared before, but I'm not talking about sort of, the address of Equifax or something, but I'm saying, all right, when we put down Bank of America account 1234, dear TransUnion, your reporting is inaccurate and incomplete. What do we say after that? So we'll literally type it there together, and here's the little secret in case you can't make the webinar. You just talk in normal terms. You say, how can I be late? How can it be a charge off in February or March of 21 when I completely paid off this account in January of 21? Explain that to me. Literally, that's what you type. Or this is a common thing. Equifax will say date of first delinquency is July 1st, 2020. Go, okay. And you look in the payment history, it says July 1st, 2020, current. Okay, perfect. Well, those contradict themselves. And then we've talked in a lot of videos about how you look at each credit report, because Equifax may say you're 30 days late, Experian 60, TransUnion 90 for the same month. Obviously, that's wrong. So how would we type that? And the reason I want you to see this is there's no reason to go pay for letters. Somebody says, I got the magic letter for sale. No, you don't. Okay? There are templates. I can give you whatever templates we have. The real magic is just being super specific, super detailed, explaining it in normal language, and just asking questions. There's a lot of power in asking questions. Hey, Equifax, how can the date of first delinquency be whatever, June, when you say I was current in June? How can I be delinquent in the same month that I'm current? Or you'll say, hey, Experian, you show the balance going from 800 in January to 700 in February, 600 in March, 500 in April, blah, blah, blah. But beside each month, you put zero. How is that possible? I mean, literally, you write that. You say, How is the balance going down, but you're reporting that I have no payments? Or TransUnion, you have date of last payment being February 2018, and the amount of the payment is zero. How can you have a payment that's zero? I mean, if that works, I'm going to tell my mortgage company, the electric company, the gas company, hey, I made a payment. They're like, you didn't pay us anything. Yeah, exactly. It was a zero payment. That's not a payment. So we literally just type it out. But if you're interested, then sign up for our webinar. The link will be in the description. Also, I'll drop it in the first comment here. And this is our weekly webinar. Once you sign up one time, you're signed up for all of them. Obviously, you can, unsubscribe if you don't want to get those. But we do these, unless my schedule gets adjusted, every Thursday at 1 p.m. And, sometimes we have 10 people on there. Sometimes we have 80 people on there. And obviously, the smaller the number, the more there can be sort of real interaction. But even when there's a lot of people, a lot of folks are just watching, or they may be driving and listening. So if you're in a position where you can chat, and by the way, you can do this webinar, there's nothing to download, no software. You can do it on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your desktop. It works. It's great. It's called Demio is the software. And but it's just a website you go to. And if you're in a position where you can chat, you can see what's on the screen that I'm sharing and be able to chat, I think it'll be a really good learning process for you. And the truth of the matter is nobody knows everything. And so if we're all looking at it together, all putting ideas out there, we will all get better at this. And the objective is anything that's inaccurate or incomplete that we want to challenge, we challenge it and they fix it, or they delete the account, or they choose option 3. Now, they don't really know they're choosing option 3. But if they don't fix it, don't delete it, then option 3 is a cry for help from the credit bureaus and the furnishers, where they're saying, please, please, I'm begging you. I want to delete this and I want to pay you money. And hey, who are we to stand in their way? If there's a cry for help, we want to answer that and let them fix our credit report and pay us money. Again, we give them a heads up, very detailed, very specific dispute letter. And if they choose to not fix it, not delete each account, then they're choosing to be sued. And hey, that's their choice. And I've always told people, 20 years of taking checks from the credit bureaus and furnishers, debt collectors, credit card companies, their money spends just fine. So if they don't want to fix it, they don't want to delete it, then they must want to pay us money. So if you're interested in this and seeing very specific examples, I'm not going to go through a whole report, real quick. It's going to be, all right, let's look at this one account, see how long that takes, maybe another account. And then, for each of those, let's write it. Okay. And I'll send you whatever I have. Actually, if you're on the webinar, I can save the Word doc and then put that up where you can download it. And if you can't do that, I can always email it to you. Again, you'll see there's nothing magical about this. It's really just being specific and asking questions. So if you're interested, just click the link and it'll be in the description, the comment, sign up. And we'll go sort of back and forth between FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, FDCPA, particularly these new rules, just amazing changes coming November 30. Just going to be an explosion of violations by the debt collectors, which means we need to be suing them for this. And we also talk about other things. So anyway, thanks. And if you're interested, I'll catch you next Thursday. All right. Bye-bye.